Hey everyone, Entropy here, and today we're back with another video. Today we're going to be talking about what is card quality. So, if you've seen my previous videos, I've mentioned this term briefly. Uh, so yeah, what does it mean? How do you define it? Why is it important? Let's look into card quality. So, card quality is a term that I don't think is really prevalent in the community because most people just use the blanket term, right? Power creep. Power creep is when the next set's cards are better than the previous one, and that's just how a game progresses, right? Because obviously, Bushiroad wants to sell cards, right? If the next set's cards are weaker than the previous set, then people are less incentivized to go buy the new set, check out the new clans and sub clans and all the good stuff, right? So is it the same thing as power creep? Not necessarily, right? Because power creep implies a linear progressive relationship, right? Because the next set is better than the previous set, so you buy the next set. The next set is better than the previous set, so then you buy the next set, and you keep going, and going, right? That's how they get your money. But no, card quality is just about this each specific card's how much value it has, what it can do, and it can be compared directly and indirectly. What does that mean? So let's check out a few examples and examine how this plays a role in Vanguard Zero. So first example is Edel Rose versus Solitaire Knight Gancelot. So Gancelot and Edel Rose's text is exactly the same, right? They're 9k, they're grade 3s. They say if you have this specific card, then you can counterblast 2, get +5, +1 crit. And then they also say in your hand, you can put it back to the deck and get their grade 2. Edel Rose searches for a 10k Werewolf Seeker, and Gancelot searches for a 9k Blaster Blade. So in terms of raw stats, Werewolf Seeker is 10k, Blaster Blade is 9k, right? So you could argue that one's better than the other, but the difference is Blaster Blade has a skill, Werewolf Seeker doesn't, right? And the thing is, right, like if you say, oh yeah, maybe DI's Dark Irregulars don't have a Blaster Blade clone, or maybe Royal Paladin doesn't have a Werewolf Seeker clone. That's not true, right? In DI's you have Gwyn the Reaper, which essentially does the same thing as Blaster Blade. It's a different restriction, but it is a counterblast to retire skill. And similarly, Gancelot also has a 10k. There's Gallatin, and there are also other 10ks in Royal Paladins. So why does one search a card with a skill and one doesn't? Why does one search a vanilla and one doesn't? I'd put the crown on a Gancelot, right? Because in the meta, right? Like there's MLB, and MLB needs Blaster Blade, right? But what DI decks need Werewolf Seeker other than Edel Rose itself? Not a lot. So this is what I mean as card quality, right? The same text, but slightly different. And how does that play a role in the value of each card and the clan? So next is Blaster versus Overlord, right? The meta, the big three. But we're not necessarily looking at the big three today. We're going to look at their support, right? So we're looking at the Bediviers and the Ks of the world, right? Blasters, we have 1 9 + 3 and 1 7 + 3. That's great. That's 8 support cards that hit numbers. And also their keyword says if you have a Vanguard with Blaster, right? And there's Blaster Blades, you play 4 of those, you play 4 Blaster Darks, and you play 4 Majesty Lord Blasters, right? That's 12 Blasters. So the chances of getting that extra damage, power, is quite consistent, right? Okay, next we have Shadows, right? You also have 12 Blasters. You have, your Blaster Darks, you play 4 of those, do you? You have your 4 Phantom Blaster Dragons, and you have your 4 Phantom Blaster Overlords. Well, PBD and PBO, you probably play 4, but do you really play 4 Blaster Darks? Right? Is it going to be as consistent? Another story. I mean, of course you have your right chain, which makes the Blaster Dark search consistent, but will you get your right chain successfully every single game? Besides the point, we also have the Masquerade, right? We have the grade 2 Masquerade that says if you have a Vanguard with Blaster in its name, 9 + 3. But they don't have the 7 + 3. What's up with that? They have Gururubao instead. He's a good doggo. He does 7+2. Unconditional though, so as long as it's in the front row and attacks, it gets 7+2. But you know, how often are you going to hit a 9k Vanguard or you know a 10k Vanguard, right? Like 10k Vanguards are quite obscure already. But a 9k one, you know, you're not going to face a Ganstled or Edel Rose every other game. So, card quality. And then our biggest loser here is the end, right? Kagero, and it's covered up here. But Kagero has, you know, has Burning Horn Dragon. Burning Horn Dragon's a great card. You know, if you've ever played Kagero in the actual paper card game, you usually play at least one copy of Burning Horn because it's 12k, right? It hit numbers. But here's the difference, right? Kagero, Burning Horn Dragon, he checks for the Overlord key. And the Overlord key so far, you know, Kagero only has, you know, Draconic Overlord, 4 copies of that, and the end, 4 copies of that. That's 8 only, right? Compared to the 12 at most that you could play in the other 2 big 3 clans, it's substantially less consistent. Also, you know, it doesn't have a grade 1 support. Not a 7+3, not a 7+2. What's up with that, right? So, I mean, yes, it's about isolating the card quality, right? Like, if you're just gonna compare it, you're gonna compare Bedivere, Masquerade, and Burning Horn. But also, you know, look at the clones, right? Like, and see the bigger picture. Holistically, how does card quality affect clan quality, right? Because you could argue, you know, game design for Bushi was like, yo, you know, Kagero support is like pretty insane, right? If we give them another 7+3, you know, it's too much. So let's leave that out and maybe print it later on. So I mean, this kind of thing, you know, you have to think about it, right? Like, how does this affect deck building and the overall way you play the deck? Next, we're going to take a step back. We're going to talk about drive check grade 3s, right? So this is a very common skill. A lot of, you know, cards go like, oh, as a grade 3, if you drive check a grade 3, you do something, right? So on the start, we have our little 10+5s. If you drive check a grade 3, you get 5k. Okay, but then in Kagero you have 2 of those, and one gives you 5k and one gives you retire 1. You know, I think one's clearly better than the other. And then you go to Spike Brothers, and it goes, you know, drive check grade 3. It does what its clan wants to do, similar to the Kagero Goku, but it also has, you know, when boosted +3. So it's like, you know, it does what the clan wants to do, but it also gets 1 extra skill. Excuse me. And then next you have your reindeers and your Ashura Kaisers of the world. You know, they drive check grade 3. They do what their clan wants to do. You know, reindeer lets you bounce and call something, multi-attack, bounce, and Ashura Kaiser lets you stand something, right? But they're 11k base. Now you could argue, you know, is 11k base better, or is the +3 when boosted better? But you know, when we were talking about raw stats, I'd say the crown goes to reindeer and Ashura Kaiser, right? Like, if Goku had 11k, did what its clan wants to do, then you know, it would be on par. But why is there a difference in the card quality? You know, why is there a difference in the clan quality, right? Like, why does Royal Paladin get 10+5? Kagero gets the same thing, but 1 extra drive check grade 3 to do something, right? Like, you know, why is that so? And the last example I have today for you is the painters. So again, we're talking about the big 3, but we're talking about the painters. You know, they're the grade 1s. They're the 7k. You know, on place, I get to put a card from my hand into the soul. And for, you know, Shadow Paladins is the clear winner here because, well, the cross ride, you can ride Overlord, put back the PBD inside, and you get the 11+2, right? That's great. I mean, but on MLB side, yes, you do have the painter as well, right? But as we talked about in our MLB advanced video, it doesn't give you the crit, right? First of all, you need 2 specific cards in your soul instead of 1. But secondly, if you don't use MLB's, you know, scoop skill, then you don't get the extra crit, and that's a huge deficit. That's a huge loss. You know, Overlords, you know, Shadow Paladins, they don't experience this deficit. You know, it's a pure +2. That's it, right? So it's indirect card quality differences, right? And then lastly, we look at our biggest loser of today, the end, right? They didn't have the 7+3, they didn't have the 7+2, and they also don't have the painter, right? Like, wow. Unfortunately, they don't have the painter support. They don't get to go the end and then scoop up that Draconic Overlord into the soul just yet. Fortunately though, as we talked about clan quality, right? Kagero has Conroe, just makes your grade 1 slot much more consistent. And there are plenty of good grade 1s, ample support that you can play with. So, whether or not Painter is viable is a different question. The question is comparing these clones, comparing the quality of these cards, and comparing the extent, right, of how that impacts the clan itself and the game itself. Right, so, I mean, of course, clan quality is a big difference. If you look at the paper card game, set 1 you have Royal Paladins and Kagero, set 2 you have Royal Paladins and Kagero, set 3 you have Royal Paladins, and on and on and on, right? Like the main character clans get a lot of support. The other clans don't really get a lot of support, Even in Vanguard 0, right? Where's my Mega Colony fans, right? Where are my Tachikaze fans? I want to play my dragons, dinosaurs, right? So, we'll have to see how Game Studio works around with this. There are a lot of buffs and nerfs and changes that they've made due to the Vanguard 0 format, as well as due to the metagame, right? So I do have confidence in what they're trying to do, but I do think that it's important for us to all acknowledge and recognize the difference in card quality, right? Like, why do DI players, when the Spectral Duke set comes out, right? Or the Chariot set, right? Why do they play Chariot over Edel Rose when Ganslot's so popular, right? Because Edel Rose is just an objectively worse copy of Ganslot. Right? Chariot's just good. It just synergizes better with the deck. So I think that's about it. Thank you for watching. Please do like, comment, share, and subscribe. I want to once again thank this wholesome community. I know not a lot of you have seen a lot of my videos, but for the people that are staying tuned and leaving comments behind, I really appreciate your support. And if you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to leave a comment down below. Any suggestions? Again, Shadow Paladin fan, I do really want to play Shadow Paladin. Unfortunately, they put the clan banner at the very end of the month, so you'll have to wait. I don't really want to make half-assed videos, right? Like incomplete budget builds. I try to avoid them unless it's meant to be a budget build video. So yeah, right now I don't have a complete Shadow Paladin deck. Work in progress, and I want to get some actual hands-on experience with it so I can have my own judgment and opinions on some advanced strategies, right? So I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much, and have a nice day. Thank you.